This is the fourth small group discussion with J. Krishnamurti in Gstaad, 1962.
We said this morning we'll discuss what was it?
Authority.
Yes.
Imitation.
We thought we would discuss this morning imitation and authority. Now we began by the question which was, what is negative thinking? And that opened the door to this question of imitation and authority. And we are going to discuss it this morning. And we said we'd go into it fairly thoroughly. It seems to me that we can analyze authority pretty deeply and widely. Authority as the outer, the law, and the law established for oneself. I think it's fairly simple to understand the outward authority. And that one has to accept willy-nilly. You like it or not, it's there. But we were going to discuss the psychological authority and how far that authority is productive of imitation and whether it is at all possible to be entirely free of authority. One can very easily discard the outer authority of the church, of a organized belief as of a religion. One can easily discard the authority of books, the saints and the people who know and people who accept them as their guide. No, that's fairly simple. I don't know if it is difficult for others to discard all that. Shall we discuss that a little? Does that need discussing?
Seems to me it does.
Huh? What is involved in accepting the so-called spiritual, I put that in quotes, authority? Why does one accept it? Is it the same as accepting the authority of a specialist, of a doctor, of a scientist? I accept the authority, let's say, of who? I don't know. Of a Hindu saint or a Christian saint. What is involved in it? The saint or the teacher knows, and I don't know. He says, do these things and you will get that. That is the heaven or the nirvana or bliss or that state of undiluted innocence and so on, so on, so on. And I want that. Because my life is pretty shallow, empty. My life is full of travail. And I would like to have that. My life is constantly undergoing change, and that is a permanency. So I want that. So I follow. And I do the most absurd things he tells me. Reasonable and as well as unreasonable. Because the incentive is the guarantee of that. Now that's involved, doesn't it? Please, let's discuss it. I'm going to stop a little after. That involves, doesn't it, that I accept what he says to be true. Doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Jesus, whether it is Buddha, whether you follow, it doesn't matter who it is. I accept because of my craving, my desire, my longing for something more, much more beautiful, more this and that. I accept whatever he says. And how do I know what he says is true? Why should I accept him at all? First of all, the whole idea involved in that is that thing is a permanent state, something attainable, like a mountain top, concrete, definite, and by doing certain systems and following certain ideas, I'll get that. And surely that thing is not permanent. It can't be. But I like to have something permanent. So I follow. And this following, this pursuit of a thing which is greater, gives a stability to my idiocy. To my stupidity, to my shallowness. So all round I feel very safe, secure, and nothing to be disturbed about. So if I understand that whole process, which is that I'm seeking security, a permanency, through imitation, through conformity, which will eventually guarantee me a certain idealistic state. If I understand all that, need I go through all that process? You follow? Or can't I cut at the root of the whole thing and get away from all this? You know, the idea of being a light to oneself, you know, being a light to oneself, what does that mean? Does it mean that one has to follow another at any time? And to be a light to oneself, does it mean accepting all the experiences that one has had and making that as the guide and pursuing that? I mean, all this is fairly simple, isn't it? Or not? Can I rely on my experience at all? Can I put faith in another, in the guru, in the teacher, in the book? And if I reject that, I have no trust in that. I have none. Then why should I have faith or trust in my experience? I don't know if you are following all this.
Your experience is just like someone else's experience.
My experience, I'll tell you what it is. A response from my background. My background is the result of my conditioning in a particular culture, society, with certain morality and so on, so on, so on. And that reacts to a particular challenge, and that reaction I call experience. Can I trust that experience? Can I trust that? A residue of the past. So if I reject both, you follow, which I do personally, I say no. Outward authority is too absurdly silly, immature. And also I reject any form of experience which will act as a guide, which will become my authority. I don't know if it's so simple. And not simple in the sense, simple as an explanation. Now if I reject both, what happens? And can I reject?
But take the so-called outward authority, Krishnaji.
The policeman, the law?
No, the so-called spiritual authority. One observes that one's life is miserable. You know, on the surface, okay, but really miserable. And so he encounters a person, through reading or personal contact, doesn't matter, who says that the reason for your misery is yourself. Therefore, you have to find out who is the actor who creates this misery. And if you withdraw your gaze from the outside and look in, then you can discover who the actor is, and the mischief will stop. So that sounds reasonable. So one tries that. So it seems to me that that is what so-called spiritual authority is. And that seems a reasonable thing to try to do.
Yes. Yes.
So, now the trouble with it, of course, is that if one takes it as an experiment, which seems reasonable, and then if after a given length of time the experiment doesn't work out and you're still the same as you were, then one should have the nerve to say, well, I've tried, it doesn't work, and therefore I put it aside. But that isn't what happens. What happens is then someone else comes along and says, well, the trouble is you didn't do just this right. so try it this way. Seems to me that that's what spiritual authority is.
But sir, I don't want to reach anywhere. I don't want to get over something. I don't want to free myself from my petty life.
You don't?
Now, I just want to understand it. I want to see it. What it is composed of, like a scientist and a microscope. He wants to see what the whole process of living, all the microbes and all the rest of it. I just want to see what is pettiness.
But you want to see that because you're dissatisfied with it.
No, not at all.
Otherwise,
Why should I look?
well, why should you?
No, wait a minute. What do I mean by this? What do you mean by discontent? Discontent with what?
Discontent.
I'm discontent with having this house. I want a bigger house. I want a better job. I'm beginning with that. I want to be a better man, more perfect. You follow? More money, more clothes, discontented, a better position, better known in the world, more famous, etc., more capacity, talent, and all the rest of it. I say that's stupid. Yeah. Then I say I'm dissatisfied still because I haven't found the substance, the worthwhileness of living. So, my search is to find something to live for. No?
No.
Huh?
Yes. No.
Then what is my search?
Is to find out the significance of life. You say that here's life all around me now, I don't know what it is.
Huh?
I'm ignorant, I'm blind, and I want to know.
Then how do you begin to know? Not by discontent. It isn't a motive that makes you look. You see, please, let's discuss a little bit about discontent. If I am discontented, what does it mean to be discontent?
To be in one state and to desire to be in another state.
Yes? Intrinsically, so what does discontent in itself mean? To be dissatisfied with what is. Now, at least there are some English people here, so they'll tell me. The word. It is always, you see, discontented with something. I don't know. You follow? I am discontented with my look. I am discontented with my fortune. I am discontented with something. And the moment I have resolved with the discontent with something, I'm satisfied. I've found a groove in which I settle down. No?
You're discontented with your lack of understanding.
No, wait. I'm showing. I'm discontented with something. Now, being discontented with something is not discontent. I don't know if you see. I am dissatisfied with this house. I'm dissatisfied with something. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing. So my discontent is always limited.
And can stop.
Huh?
And can stop.
Of course, obviously,
to get
it
what
becomes
you
so
want,
childish.
and then you get comfortable
And
and you're content.
settle down.
Yes.
I don't know if we get them, if I'm making it
And
clear.
work towards discontent without the object.
That's it. Discontented without. Discontentment, not with something. Then it's like a flame alive, burning.
attachment to an object, just, it must, if you have discontent in association with an object,
Of course, obviously.
then
The object becomes important.
yes, there's a dissipation of the
That's right.
energy.
The object becomes important. Not discontent, you follow? Not the feeling by Joe, nothing satisfies me. Which is what we were discussing yesterday, which is reaching the end of the tether.
Well, you think discontent arises, then looks around and finds an object to settle on?
So, look, I'm discontented with little things at first, as a boy. And as I grow more and more discontented with something. And in order to escape from this discontent, which is change of objects, I finally fix my eyes on something far away. It is still within the framework of time with something. I don't...
Yes. But the discontent itself is integral. Even as a boy, it's that you interpret your discontent to mean
Yes,
that I'm
all
discontent
right.
with this bicycle.
Can't you remain with that discontent, not with the object? Now, that is like having a fury inside you. You follow?
Yes.
And with that fury you look.
Yes, I mean, the subtle thing is not to attach itself to the object.
Object. With that fury you look. And you look at authority. You follow? Not to dissolve authority, not to be free from authority, but to see the truth or the falseness of authority. Huh? So, if you reject the outer authority of the church, the saints, the Jesuses, the Buddhas, you follow? Then, if you reject the outer, you must also reject the inner. Because the outer is the inner. The outer is the social structure of which you are a part. And if you reject both, you follow? As a mature man must, then where are you? We can discuss this still more, implication of the inner, which is experience, thought, the creation of idea, and so on, so all these become the authorities. Now, do we reject that authority?
This provides the release from this discontent. You see, this is the difficulty, that these are outward things. Ease this sense of tension straight away.
But they're not outward things, they are me.
Yes, I think.
You follow what I mean? I reject authority, either outer or inner.
But the point I was making, this is what actually occurs, that why we do this is because it eases this.
No, I know why I do. Because first of all, it breeds fear, essentially. You follow?
Sorry.
No?
Bit too quick.
Too quick. If I have no authority,
Yes, you've got no. Yes.
there isn't. I live. I may make a mess, I may not make a mess, I'll be flowing. You follow?
Yes. I couldn't quite see the connection with fear.
I said, because what has built authority, outwardly, inwardly? My desire to be secure. My desire to find something which will be constant.
Yes, that has got its roots in fear. I'm trying to see if I can explain this. You have this discontent. It attaches itself to an object because of fear.
Yes, sir. I am related to you. Because in this relationship, I want that relationship should be maintained at any cost. You follow? I have established a particular relationship which is pleasurable, which is gratifying, which is satisfactory,
Yes.
both sexually, emotionally, intellectually, etc., etc., etc.
Yes.
And I want that to be permanent. And anything that disturbs, I'm afraid. I call it jealousy, I call it, dozen things.
But you see, there's a step here, isn't there? I mean, it's your fear which makes you want this permanent state because of fear. Now, I cannot yet quite see at what stage does this fear come in. If you know that this is happening, obviously you wouldn't do it.
No, wait, it comes in because I don't understand fear. I don't know how to tackle it, how to dissipate it. Therefore, I create a frame in which I accept. My mind is in a state of acceptance.
So at some stage or other, you're unaware that fear was operating this.
Obviously. So, look, why do I want a permanent relationship with anybody? I know that I'm going against family, against, you follow that. Just take, why do we want a permanent relationship with anybody? Permanent in the sense, she's my wife and husband and child. And it must be that way. Why? Which doesn't mean I become promiscuous and all the rest of it. I'm not talking all that silly nonsense either. But why this insistence?
Because of anything that you could attach yourself to, those would appear to be the most permanent.
But what is the basis of this demand of permanency in relationship?
Security.
Yes, sir, but go a little more behind, go into it. First of all, outwardly, that's so society is that. You can't destroy it. Let's leave that for the moment. Why do we demand this permanent relationship?
We feel more alive.
Alive? More alive through having a wife and a husband whom I insist never must change. How can I be alive?
But that's what we think. It gives us a feeling.
Does it give a feeling of being alive when I say to my wife, you are my wife and I'm going to hold you? Where is the aliveness?
But there's a fear, is it not, of being alone?
No, sir, just Mr. Craig, just a minute, sir. We are trying to find out why we demand permanency in relationship. We say not only permanency, you and I, as a husband, wife, child, mother, but also demand a permanency in idea, in a belief, in a vision, in a state which is eternal and all the rest of it. Why?
Isn't there a dread of death?
Huh? Dread of death?
Yes.
No. You're missing. You're not getting at this. Go in. Now, we can give explanations, but why is it we seek permanence? Go into it a little bit, please.
Because it's convenient. So we don't
Yeah.
have to keep making decisions all the time.
So you want a state of convenience maintained?
Well, we're lazy.
Huh?
We're all lazy.
No, that's very simple. That's not a
We
very
see that everything is impermanent.
Huh?
We see
No,
that
sir, go
everything
a little deeper. Don't throw out suggestions. Go into a little bit deeper.
You
Why?
don't want to be disturbed?
What?
No, madam. Think it out, sir. Why? Please, take little thing. You're all married or not married, I don't know. You take a simple thing. I want a permanent relationship. My wife with my children. Why?
Because we want to become something and stay permanently. The idea we have built us. It's a
Yes.
way of becoming.
Yes, sir, but that's not. Go little. Move away from all this. Move away.
It's a continuity. It keeps the continuity of...
Stop, sir. Just stop. Stop. What do you mean by that word continuity? What gives continuity?
It's the attachment.
Don't stick to one thing. Don't move away from it. What gives continuity?
Fear, doesn't it?
Huh?
Fear.
No. Don't throw everything into one basket. So take a very simple, what gives continuity?
We're changing.
No. Attendez, madame.
Memory.
Now, just look, sir, what gives continuity? You are not, it's so simple if you look at it. Vous avez compris? Capisce? Huh? What gives continuity?
Repetition.
Huh?
Repetition.
What do you mean repetition? Look, sir, Mr. Craig, don't expend your energy too much. It's such a silly thing.
Yes, it's the name. It's the
No, just look, sir. I like to look at that mountain. I look at that mountain. It's lovely. You follow? Then I think about it. Thought gives continuity. Thought gives continuity. I like that face and I think about it. I don't like that face and I think about it. So there is a continuity through recognition, saying I like and I don't like. This is simple, sir, isn't it?
It is memory, isn't it?
You are reducing the word to memory. I don't want.
Well, thought and memory.
No, I don't want to reduce it to memory. You are missing the point. If you don't mind my, please, I talk very free. I hope you don't mind my saying that. I'm not being disrespectful or all the rest of it. I'm being very simple and clear and direct. Now what gives continuity?
It should be possible to think without the sense of continuity, sure.
No, wait a minute, sir, that's not the point. We are trying to find out what gives continuity. I think about my wife, the pleasure, sex, the family, the cook, the house, you follow? Think. What gives continuity is thought, thinking about something. I've got used to this house, to this view. The hill in the middle of these two mountains.
Yes, it is true that...
Wait, and move me to another place in the, you follow, higher up the valley, and I say it's not, I'm already disturbed. You follow?
Yes.
And I object to that disturbance. I mean, wait. In the same way, I married, I have a wife, I thought about, all the rest of it, and she turns away from me, or I turn away from her. Then begins the disturbance, which is called jealousy, Then I feel everything is gone out of my life. I'm ready for the suicide, for the grave. It's so childish, isn't it? I don't mean, please. What is behind this? That's what I want to get at. Why do I want permanence? Why do, after creating it through thought, which is continuity, which gives continuity, why do I keep on knowing? See how absurd it is, or what is the thing behind all this that's making me do it?
Not acceptance of impermanence.
No. What is the thing that is making me hold on to permanence, to hold on to a relation? I just want to stick to one thing. You follow, sir? What is it that is making me stick to a particular relationship? Relationship to these hills. Don't we know when the wife turns or the husband turns away, what havoc it creates? No? Huh?
I am empty,
What? Now, proceed.
and I want all those.
Obviously, I feel lonely, empty, insufficient, hollow, and this relationship gives me some sense. No? Not some sense. This relationship keeps me away from that.
There's a sense of identity involved in it.
Of course, that continuity, that's what we mean. So when my wife or my husband turns away from me, all hell is let loose, because I am faced with a fact which is I am lonely, insufficient, empty, dull, stupid. Right?
But my relation with my wife is only an extraction of my loneliness. Then,
Oh, I wouldn't say only.
yes, mainly, partially.
Whatever
What you
you want
want.
to say, that's for you to find out. Don't put it on me.
This surely is not the sense of loneliness is the most terrifying, perhaps, of the various fears. That's why it's incredibly difficult to face.
So, sir, you see how authority begins?
It's the running from
From the fact that I am empty, that I am extraordinarily lonely, dull by myself. And we run away to God, to knowledge, to science, to spirituality, or attend these meetings, God knows what else. So I set up authority. You have helped me to run away from my loneliness, from my emptiness, from my stupidity. You follow? And then you become my authority. What do you say, sir? So, is it possible for me, for a human being, to reject authority, outer and inner? You follow? And do we do it now as we are discussing? Or is it something that we're just talking about? You follow?
Then the essential thing is to face that emptiness.
Now, just follow this science. First we begin to discuss authority. then we see what is involved in authority. That doesn't need great deal of analysis, does it anymore? Huh? Right? Can we proceed? All right. Then we see this insistence of permanency which breeds, which cultivates imitation. Because he tells me what to do. The guru, the teacher, the master, they tell, and I follow. And I begin to imitate, conform, adjust to the pattern which he has established, or the book, or the something. Now, I see all that, and I put it away from me. Completely put it away from me. Never, never again. You follow? It doesn't matter if I fail, if I die, if I suffer. No more. I don't know if you feel, you see? It's finished for me, because there's no meaning. Then what happens? Then I'm confronted with the idea, with this feeling for a permanence. You follow? Not through whom or through what. I don't know if you... I'm left with this concern, with this demand for permanency. No?
See.
It seems rather doubtful, isn't it? Huh? All right, sir?
See,
Now, what gives permanency to anything? Obviously, thought. I like that view, and I think about it, and I compare, you follow? And I say, I don't like this, but I like that. I've already given through thought a continuity in my relationship, right? So you look, put a picture of your wife or your husband or some great saint or whatever one does on the wall, and you keep on looking at it. By looking at it, it becomes, the game of it. And you've forgotten the wife, the children, everything, but the picture becomes terribly important.
It's the same with every thought.
The same with everything. Of course, sir. Now, wait a minute. We have come to that point. Then, I've rejected all this. I'm not, you follow, I hope you have rejected it with me. You have rejected, denied, destroyed all this.
But on that point, Krishnamurti, it seems to me that one's first impulse, and that shows no understanding, I'm sure, is to reject it on empirical grounds, because it doesn't work.
No. I am not rejecting it because it doesn't work. Anything can be made to work. The most crooked, silly thing can be made to work. Look at your churches, sir, the most silly absurdity.
Yes, but they don't work for you.
But it works for nobody if they begin to think about it.
No, so that's why you reject it now.
No,
That's wrong.
I don't reject it because it doesn't work for me. Because I see inherently per se that is absurd. I don't want money because it means struggle, it means competition. It isn't because I just don't want it, full stop.
Yes, so then even in the rejection of authority, then that has to also be on the grounds of not taking your own experience as authority.
But I said so.
Yes. But still, that's a tendency to do that.
I said both outer and inner authority. The outer is accepted through fear, etc., etc., and the inner is established through one's own experience, and that experience is the reaction of your conditioning, which is the outer.
Yes,
so it's not.
But one is likely to take the result of one's own experience.
Well, maybe also.
And because of that, take that as a guide and reject authority.
But you have to reject this one's own experience as being marvelous, as the only thing.
It's a possibility.
Huh?
I can see that's a possibility also.
What's the possibility?
That side.
How can it be?
That your experience has been marvelous instead of otherwise.
So I am conditioned as a Christian and I see Jesus in when I sleep or when I look around.
Right, you become an ecstatic person, full of
Yeah,
joy.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But that's the result of my culture in which I have been brought up, in which I am conditioned. And my experience says, by Joe, I have seen God, Jesus. Huh? It is so absurdly silly. No? You're still a...
Because even though you become an extremely happy and ecstatic person, still you have to see that even that is a result of conditioning.
Of course it is.
I see it. No, I see that. I see that. So that wipes the saints out right there.
Huh?
That point of self wipes all the saints out.
Exactly. So, what happens when you wipe out outer inner, you are left as you are. You follow? You are left with something which you say, my God, I've been running away from, which is my emptiness, my shallowness, my loneliness. When you strip me of everything which society has given me, not me, which society has imposed, what have I left? Right, sir? What have I left, actually?
Yourself.
Huh?
Yourself.
Huh?
Yourself.
What is yourself?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what yourself is.
No, I don't want to tell you. That would be authority.
I'm not in the least. That's not authority, good God. Don't abuse that word authority.
If you tell me something, you are imposing your...
I'm not at all imposing. We are here to discuss. If you strip me of society, which is my education, my religious ideas, the books, the newspapers, everybody strip me, what have I left? Nothing inside. And that's what I am, actually.
Exactly.
Huh? You don't, Miss Pratt, you're rather doubtful.
No. I was doubtful because somebody said exactly.
No, not exactly. One has to feel this thing, one has to be there. You can't say exactly, that's mere verbal agreement. So you strip yourself of your knowledge, of your church, of your gods, of your experience. What is there? You're just empty. There is no you to say, what am I? It is that emptiness you have to face. Shall we proceed from there?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
So you have dropped imitation, you follow what I mean? Now how does one face a fact? The fact is, this thing called me is empty, right? Because I've denied church, I've denied relationship which I wanted permanent, I've denied ideas, I've denied gods, I've denied saints, I've denied vanities, ambition, power, prestige. I've completely put away from me all that. I don't want to be a success. I don't want fame. Anything that society has given me or man has put together through centuries as religion, I wipe it away, destroy it, put it away down the sink. But you don't feel all this strongly, so. So, I'm left, there is, what am I then? Huh? What am I then? Huh?
The emptiness.
Huh?
The emptiness.
Ah! What am I then?
Nothing.
Please, what is the I? What society put you together?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
That's all. You see, you're also fiddling with words. When you have denied all this, you come to a point when you say, I really don't know what I am. What is there? Don't you? Huh? Not of course, but is it so? Is it so when you say, by Joe, I know nothing. I don't know what I am. Right?
If you don't know, how can you face a fact?
I'm doing it now. I'm going to show it to you. Sir, you're a scientist, aren't you?
No, sir.
Physicist.
No.
What are you?
Nothing.
Oh, no. Oh, come on. As a profession, sir.
You like to pin me down, sir.
I know. As a profession, what are you?
Nothing.
Oh, no. How do you honor? He's a biochemist. He's some writer, this, that. We have some profession. Because if you are a scientist, physicist, how do you face something which you don't know?
I can make an attempt.
You can't make an attempt.
As a physicist.
No, that's just it. You are making an attempt as a physicist.
Correct.
And this is not a laboratory testing. You see, that's what I mean. Sir, look, sir. I hope I hope you're not following this verbally, but actually. If one completely denies without motive the whole social structure, including religion, gurus, the whole works, then what is your mind? What is the state of your mind?
Naked.
Huh?
Naked.
I'm not that. Is it a fact? Don't, please, I don't want to pin anybody down. I want to go into it. Otherwise it will become verbal. It has no meaning.
Well, you're not projecting into the future at all.
All that's finished, you follow? Then I don't want anything and everything. You follow? I'm not thinking about tomorrow. So what is the state of the mind which has completely wiped away everything that it knows?
State of not knowing.
Huh?
It is a state of not knowing.
What does that, sir? These are just words. What does it mean?
Yes, I feel what it means. It's an empty mind.
Is your mind empty?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my darling
think
sir,
you should do
my
that. The
darling
process
sir,
goes on.
don't so easily say it's empty, so easily agree. What is involved in it?
Well, you have discarded everything.
Have you? Sir, I'm not asking you. Has one.
But isn't the feeling to be alive something?
No,
Be
no.
alive.
No, that is not my question. Do you understand? My question is, if one has discarded talent, if one discarded the technique, the relationship of permanence, you follow authority, wanting success, the things that one has built up, you follow? You put all that aside very easily, gracefully, with a smile, not with a kick. Then what is the state of your mind?
Well, if I tell you what I feel, it will probably be upset, but
I
never feel I'm alone, because there's all the time something coming.
All right.
There's
If
the
you
way,
are-
there is the, I don't know. There's, I don't feel alone and lost.
No.
There's also, I don't know.
You feel naked. If you take away your clothes,
I
you
feel
feel
my
naked.
ears, my eyes.
Yes, just wait.
That's what
You
I
see, you're
feel.
translating all this yet. You're still in the process of recognition.
Well, the nature of things would be impossible to answer this question, surely.
That's one of the difficulties, sir. You see, it's fairly easy to take clothes away from oneself, you follow, and feel naked. Hmm? But it's much more, to say I am naked inwardly.
If you say that, it's obviously not.
Of course not. So, I say you see, with that mind, which has completely slipped through the valley, with a laughter, with a roar, you follow, like the stream, like a river, then you see, then you face this so-called emptiness.
Isn't the difficulty for us that we make a blank in our mind and we call that emptiness? We don't know what it is. Just putting aside.
No, but how will you get to know anything? How will you get to know? How do you get to know? How do you must discard, mustn't you find out? So for you, if I may say, it's very difficult to discard what you have learned about Buddhism.
Yes.
Very difficult.
Yes.
All their ideas, their meditations, their virtues, you have read a great deal about it, and so you say, by Jove, how true, and you're caught in it. And it is impossible, almost impossible to say, out with it.
It's true. Continues to rise up.
You know that lovely story of a Buddhist monk who lived in great height? One night it was terribly cold, and he had a statue of the Buddha, very, very, very old, beautifully carved, so lovingly handled, polished through centuries, you see, and it was a cold night. So he said, I'm so cold. He broke it up and made a fire out of it.
Well, the state of your mind cannot be a void,
How do you know?
because that would be impossible to live with.
Why should you live with void, which it is? Or do you want to live with all this muck put on top of it?
No, you don't want to live with just a dull, empty void.
How do you know what's going to happen before you come to it?
Of course, you project the experiences you've had.
Which is all absurd. So you reject all that, put away, keep on. You see, at least by doing that, you have a very sharp mind now. Huh? You follow? Not an accepting mind, not a mind that says, oh, this is right, this is wrong, I must follow. You follow, you've got a sharp mind.
But in such a case, there wouldn't be any movement in your mind.
How do you know?
And then you would be afraid that you wouldn't
How
be
do
able to
you
act.
know?
You couldn't meet life.
How do you know? What is life? You see, you're just not denying. Not you want to with one hand deny, with the other hand hold at the same time.
But it seems impossible to be as nothing, because there's a constant reaching out from that.
Because you never denied it. You haven't. So it's very simple. Deny your authority and see what happens. Not catching hold of something and then giving this up. Deny this first. You see, that's what we were saying the other day. We are second hand. And how can a second hand find something which must be the origin of everything? You follow? Which is not second hand. Huh? So if I want to find it, not that I'm going to find it, I don't know if it exists, but I must completely cease to be second hand. But you don't want to see second hand. You want the Buddhas, you follow, you still caught up in that, which is completely second hand.
So we have to look at that wanting.
No, sir, not wanting. Cease to be second hand. Is that enough this morning?